Hello everyone and welcome back. I am Duke Silver. Today we are playing Cursed King. And while I got you there, why not hit that subscribe button? Just throwing it out there. Anyways, let's get into it. We start off with a Wizard's Familiar into a 4 Glory just because it's the only spell we can cast, and we end up winning the 4 Glory and getting a Happy Little Tree. So pretty good start there. And we get a little stat buff onto our Happy Little Tree. And that extra unit there is going to allow us to win our second combat, so off to a pretty good start here. And then we get 2 pairs in this shot. So overall, things looking pretty good. I think we go with the stat on the already buffed tree, just because it has a higher chance of value trading rather than making the 1/1 into a 2/2, which could potentially just not matter. But yeah, we end up winning that fight and getting to keep our magic research stat. And then we get faced with this kind of awkward level 3 shop here. We're gonna go with the experience. We need to cast a spell, and I think it's better than rolling, as well as there's a small outside chance that we can win this combat. We're gonna sell the pair of Happy Little Tree, or the smaller version of the Happy Little Tree, anyways. And yeah, unfortunately they get a stag attack, which is gonna be enough for us to not win, but we don't lose any HP here. So honestly, it's like, it all kind of comes out in the wash there, so not too bad. Then we cast a Genie's Wish to try and get some stats onto our Wizard's Familiar, and also we get a second experience spell. So yeah, I'd say things are going very well. Gold's a little bit awkward, as we are selling another pair here to get a greedy. It's 3.1 right now, so I do think it's worth it to go down a unit and potentially just get our econ back from this greedy, and we do. We get a couple of gold there and also win this fight. So yeah, things are a little unorthodox, but they're going well. Pick up another greedy, which is a great pickup. Honestly, here I think we should have just picked up the Cindy and the spell, but we do roll, and then we find a Mix-a-Wizzle, and I think we're just gonna forgo the Mix-a-Wizzle here. We did cast a +2 attack spell, I believe. So yeah, so we're good on spell for this turn. I think I'm pretty sure we cast the cantrip. But yeah, we're gonna go with the Lady of the Lake, which is gonna put some extra toughness onto our greedies to hopefully get that back. But I did end up deciding to just go with the spell, as I think the Mim wasn't really adding enough stats to really be relevant. This is still 3.2, so I figured we could get away with it with the stats that we had on board. But unfortunately, we run into a Gwen who did Mix-a-Wizzle and Knighthood an Arthur. So yeah, that was a lot of stats over on that side of the board. We do lose, but I mean, we're still at 35, so it's not so bad. And then we're faced. I mean, we really want to pick up this this monster book. And yeah, and because we're at 35, this is very greedy. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this, but yeah, we sell down and we pick up the monster book rather than lock it going into 5. Yeah, unfortunately, we do lose this fight, but fortunately, it's not by too much. So again, we're still at 30, even after taking some pretty greedy lines. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, we should be playing a little bit more conservative from here on out, though. We pick up a pair of fannies, and then we're gonna cast a Mix-a-Wizzle. Okay, we're not gonna cast a Mix-a-Wizzle. We didn't really have any great targets for Mix-a-Wizzle, I suppose. We could have hit one of the greedies, but I still kind of wanted to hit a triple. But instead, we find a lightning bolt to round out our turn instead. And yeah, we are definitely strong enough to win this fight, and we get a little bit of econ from our greedies here. They're really putting in work. And then there's a Tweedledee, and with the double fanny support, I think we got to take it here. Just a great tempo pickup, and then we find our greedy triple. Moonsong and 3 of Swords are decent stats, but I think we're going to go with the Deck of Many Things. I mean, it's going to scale our Wizard's Familiar. It's a little bit late to be leaning on that as a strategy. But the fact that we can get like falling stars out of our monster book as well as our deck of many things makes me inclined to kind of stack up those effects to try and get the most out of this greedy as we can. Also, we're going to be going to level 6 next turn, so we definitely want to get as much gold out of this turn as we can. We're locking that experience spell so we can just cast it on our sure shot next turn and go right to 6 and be 3 experience ahead. And yeah, hopefully find some direction. We're not necessarily locked into dwarves here, although if we find a lordy, we definitely wouldn't be too angry about it. We get the experience, we're up to 6. Yeah, and now the hunt is on for direction. At this point, I mean, we end up taking another Tweedle, which kind of leads us towards dwarves even more. It's kind of unfortunate. If we hadn't taken that, we could have taken the Herc there, and the Herc would have helped us sort of pivot into something else. But we took the pair of Tweedles and we roll into a triple. So we can't just not take the golden triple here, or sorry, Tweedle. I suppose we could, but I think it's a little too good to pass up. And we get some pink gold from the ghost here, so that's very nice of them. All right, there's our level 5 treasure. We could do horn, but I mean, it's got to be ambrosia. I mean, ambrosia, like in the dwarf comp, like ambrosia, just like it's super strong. Like, I mean, you put either Echowood or Lordy in slot 7 there, and yeah, you're feeling pretty strong. As well as it kind of acts like if we were to pivot out of dwarves, like if we were to be offered a shop that seemed like it was worth the pivot, then we could easily like pick up a pumpkin and put it there or something, or a pumpkin, or like an Oni Tyrant would be a decent little stopgap for the ambrosia slot. But I mean, we're pretty much locked into dwarves at this point. And also, we did sell down, but fortunately we got a reduplicator, and reduplicator with Tweedle is actually going to be very, very strong. As you can see, the amount of stats we get from it is pretty enormous. We come very close to taking out this Gwen that had that golden Arthur super early, and they did pick up a Sky Castle along the way, so they're very, very dangerous. Their scaling stats kind of wildly out of control right now. And we desperately need to hit our Lordy. We could honestly take Echowood. Like, Echowood is definitely not that bad to throw in the ambrosia slot for now, as it sees all the stats from the golden Tweedle, and with the reduplicator, that makes those stats even more potent. Another thing we could do here is we could sell something and just buy this Scion, and that would be a pretty large character in our ambrosia slot here. Instead, we're gonna pick up a second Tweedle here, and we're gonna put it in the ambrosia slot. As I mean, it's just gonna be a bunch more stats, and also it works better with our board. This is a very large Yorm. Unfortunately, it's not quite large enough. Unfortunately for them, as it doesn't quite get to gobble up our whole board. It looked like it might, because without Lordy, like, our dwarves aren't all that big to start out with. But fortunately, our Tweedle stats, our golden Tweedle stats, are enough to take it down there. All right, we're gonna fire off another Hi-Ho. Unfortunately, we don't find the Lordy we were hoping for. We're definitely gonna sell something for this other Tweedle though. We're not going to play it over the Wizard's Familiar though. The Wizard's Familiar is going to have more stats anyways, as well as we don't want the unupgraded Tweedle to kind of steal the reduplicator, if we can help it. Wow, we get some great value from our Angry there though. They put a ton of stats on our board with an Earthquake and Falling Stars there. Yeah, we managed to get out of this combat with another tie against Merlin there. All right, and there we go. We find the Lordy. I mean, it seemed like we might not for a while there, We are against the Ghost. I think I do make a bit of a mistake here in playing the... I shouldn't be playing the Wizard's Familiar over the other Tweedle. Like, I mean, with the Lordy stats, like, the unupgraded Tweedle, it's still a decent amount of stats with the Reduplicator. So yeah, again, that's kind of a mistake, but anyways, we get to replace it. Like, it was against a Ghost, so it didn't really matter too much, and we get to replace it with an Echo Wood, which is going to be very relevant. Cast a Falling Stars there. It's going to give us some stats with our Angry to start. Just going to pump up our Echo Wood further. And this is the Gwen player that we saw. They are almost at full health still, so this is going to be a very uphill battle. Yeah, I think we need to just play all the stats we can on the board. So we are going to be changing things around here a little bit. We're gonna put our Echo Wood in the back here and play all 3 of our Tweedles. All right, and it looks like they have a horn, and they're trying to play into Empress P, which I guess is kind of a good direction to go with Royals. Generally, Royals has like a pretty low ceiling. You generally want to just play into Good Boy, but I mean, Empress P is definitely not a bad one. But we have improved enough since our last fight against them that we definitely get the win there, thanks to our giant Echo Wood. Yeah, another reason that Empress P is a decent little sort of pivot or late game addition for them is, I mean, with the Sky Castle, they get kind of cheap level 6 treasures, and I mean, now that they're Zelhua, they're much more likely to be able to just collect level 6 characters and be able to get those level 6 treasures. All right, looks like they didn't find another one though, so that's very fortunate for us. It doesn't look like they really added anything to their board since our last fight. And I mean, we added a Lordy, so yeah, we're gonna be able to take this one down even easier than the last one. And yeah, we locked Fur and picked up a Doubly there. I mean, it's just going to add a ton of stats. I mean, Angry doesn't really do anything at all, and I mean, the stats on the Doubly, the Echo Wood is going to see those extra stats and get even bigger. And that's pretty much how we're going to win these fights, is just making Giant Echo that their backline can't handle, basically. The fact that they can't really scale their Empress P right now, like they're not playing like Slay, or they don't have a Good Boy yet, but they do have an enormous Triply there though. That's pretty random. But yeah, the fact that they're not able to enhance their Empress P means our Echo Wood is generally going to be able to take on their backline by itself. But yeah, we're chipping away at their enormous life total here. We get a Lordy triple, which is going to kind of make us weaker a little bit. We do get a Phoenix Feather, which is a huge pickup, and now we get a second Echo Wood as well, which we're going to put in the Ambrosia slot. So that's actually, like, we get kind of weaker like dwarf wise, but our Echo Woods get a lot bigger, and they did pick up a Good Boy there, which is a little bit scary. They've turned one of their Boomhildas good there, so that's going to be good for them. Yeah, we managed to take them down without even popping our Phoenix Feather though, and we get another Lordy. And yeah, last we saw, this Lightning Bolt would be able to take out one of those Boomhildas. And I was going to put the Lordy in the Ambrosia slot, but I think because we only have 5 Dwarves on board, like, we're actually just going to get a lot more strength just having a Golden Echo, rather than having a Golden versus a unupgraded Lordy. So yeah, I think this is going to be a lot more stats, and with the Phoenix Feather, having a golden Echo Wood, I think just has way more value than adding an extra like +10/+10 to my 5 Dwarves. Alright, and it looks like they tripled Good Boy and tripled their Boomhilda, so they added a couple level 6 treasures of their own. They have a Phoenix Feather as well, but again, we get there without even popping our Phoenix Feather. And yeah, So I guess that goes to show that like dwarves have a notoriously low ceiling when it comes to the late game, but apparently royals have an even lower ceiling. So yeah, we kind of win the fight of having bad long-term end games. The two comps that have bad long-term end games that just are good tempo in the mid game. Yeah, we end up coming out on top. But yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this video or found it educational at all. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel and I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's it for today. So hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.